paint because I love color. Color is total joy to me, to get a kind of an argument going between a couple of colors on a page, and it's just infinite fun to me. Music is like that for me, kind of. Even now, when I walk in to play a show, get the same feeling. Music is like that. It just feels like it's just charged.
Dear Rowland, what a pleasure it was meeting you. I'm intrigued about what you said about balancing your music and your painting. Anyway, I was curious about your two halves, because to me they seem similar in that both feel very creative.
I've been drawing ever since I can remember. I can remember being 4 years old and being down on the floor somewhere, probably right in the hallway or right underneath where everybody was walking, and having people step over me while I was busily making pictures. Pencils out, piece of paper, and I can remember that from earliest times that I can remember where I was painting or drawing.
How is your painting? Have you done more? Are you happy with them when you finish them? Do you enjoy them more as you paint them or when they're done?
First, let me thank you for thinking about all this to the point that you sent the brushes. You know that I'm well enough acquainted with the tools to know what some things cost, and these are the best brushes that money can buy. You must have done some homework or some painting. I'm in the kitchen and the action has stopped, and in a few days some new kind of work will get my attention, and before it does I'll get all the ropes straight on the boat. I spent the whole day sorting out receipts from all over the place, and it's excruciating for me to do this, yet worse even to approach any conversation with the IRS. So I do it, but my hands are in great physical shape after 5 months of playing. They feel too strong to be playing with taxi receipts, and my body is pretty stripped down and lean, and it wants to play a show tonight.
What do you think about when you're on stage? What do you think of all of us out there? Why do you do this? Will you always do this?
You asked a lot of questions, and I'll try to answer one of them now before much more time goes by. Speaking of playing, I'm used to it, and the first thing that I think about in response to your wondering what goes through my mind while I'm performing is this. It's an absolute physical pleasure that starts in my mind. I know what I'm going to play just before I play it, and I know what it's going to feel like. And sure enough, there it is, and it was what I had expected. I'm saying that it is instantly rewarding, and I set the quality level. This quality begins in a musician's soul, then it becomes an idea in his mind, then it becomes action in the muscles in his hands and arms and fingers, and it's a pure joy when your muscles are more than capable of doing what you want them to do. You don't want to have to use much more than about 50% of your strength. You want to feel like you're strong enough to work and work relaxed. That's the first thing about it. Our band is pretty jungle, I think. It's sort of primitive, and I do often wonder if it's worth anything to the crowd. I can put up with anything except brutality, and if I think even for a second that we're contributing to any balance of brutality, I get nervous. I went to the beach once with a girl who'd grown up in New York City, and when she got there, she began to cry because she suddenly saw how long and carelessly she'd denied contact with the natural world, and she wept openly for lost time. I think that this is what people go through in an audience to a lesser or greater extent. They're transported out of their daily routines by the beating drum, and it awakens something that doesn't even need to be named. It's as though they've come to the seaside to watch a safe hurricane. And there are a lot of fish in that sea. A lot of disjointed ideas swim around in my mind. I have a great affinity for quality, and in the middle of a song, if a place has great acoustics, I'll thank the guys who built it out loud, even though they may be dead.
In many of these, the ones that have been worth restoring, it seems like the acoustics in these places are fantastic. You know, in fact, we're talking very quietly here on the stage, and I think if someone was in the back, and they were really listening, they could probably sit in the back row and listen to this interview, you know. But I think about people like W.C. Fields coming through. Judy Garland probably played a lot of these places. All the singers, you know, from the 40s, 30s. Hank Williams maybe played in some of these places. And also the orchestras that came in here, just the whole feeling of the place, the instruments that people bring in. Like, for instance, some of those violins were built in the 1600s. And all the people who played on those instruments in halls like this, those instruments kind of live in halls like this, you know. And it's a special little trail to follow. My cousins and I and a couple of friends wanted to start a band, and we got all the band instruments in the basement. We went out and shopped around and said, we want to play some music. It was a Saturday afternoon. Let's go get all the necessary instruments, and we piled them up in the basement, my house, my parents' house. and kind of got back and said, ready, set, go, and everybody jumped on what they wanted to play, and the last thing laying in the pile was the bass, untaken, so it fell into my hands, literally. We could hear the music coming off the records, and we were trying really hard to duplicate that, and failing, you know, in the beginning quite a bit. But the more you listen, you know, the more you learn, and if you could learn one or two things, then you could go on in the next 2 or 3 weeks and learn a few more things. You know, you could build off of what you learned. It was logical, you know. There's so many aspects to playing. There's the actual knowledge of the notes, which comes fairly easy, and then there's the touch of how you want to play each note, whether you want to play it hard, whether you want to play it soft, the attack. You're using two hands to play one note, and sometimes you can play almost all of that note and put all the inflection into that note with just one of your hands, and it may not be the one that you actually pluck the string with. You might do it with the one that's holding the string down on the neck. Certain kinds of pressure, certain parts of your fingertip that you use, when to relax a little bit, how long the note should ring. There are a lot of subtleties, and the more of those subtleties you kind of get a handle on, the more you can use them, the more you can apply them, and then if you step into the application of those, you can see more of what you can do. You suddenly realize that there's more you could do, and more you can learn, more ways you can apply things. So there's no end to it. So you'd probably look at this and you'd say, what's he doing with that big guitar? Not a guitar. I'll tell you a secret. It's a bass. It's a Mexican bass. It's a mariachi bass. It's unique because you do play two notes at once, a high one and a low one. And when you get this and all the other instruments together that form a Mexican folk band, if you're 2 blocks away, the first thing you can hear coming 2 blocks down the street is this thing. And for some reason it pushes a little wall of air, and you can hear it and feel it. They're surprisingly effective. They may look primitive and simple and kind of hacked out of a tree stump or something, but they're actually it's a nice musical instrument and very effective bass. I play many times every day, I think, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes 2 or 3 hours. I may not play a concert every day or do a rehearsal or go in the studio, but I play anytime, anywhere, whenever the mood strikes. You get up and you go play that show no matter what. And invariably, every time I've had something like that, a sprained ankle, a temperature, the flu, you know, food poisoning or whatever, you go, you do the show, and the minute you step out on stage, within the first 2 or 3 songs, every symptom that you had is gone. Performing is exhilarating, and making a record is serious work. Need them both. When I go on the road and I'm in a hotel room and there's no guitars, I kind of feel there's definitely something's lacking, something's missing. You're out of your element, or I am, when there's not an instrument within 8 or 10 feet of me. I was probably 9 or 10. In the Midwest, and probably in a lot of places, but in the Midwest, in the summertime, there's a certain couple of weeks where fireflies come out. And when the sun goes down, it's dark and it's hot. And the night seems like it's huge, and they're hanging in the air. You can see everywhere. We were out chasing around, and we were chasing this little rabbit. We run it around the corner and hide under a bush, and we wanted to just pick it up and hold it if we could. So I remember we ran all around the neighborhood, in and out between houses, and we finally did. We caught this little rabbit, and we petted it, and then we let it go. And I remember I went home that night, and I was keyed up, really keyed up, and juiced, you know, like a kid is from this rabbit. And I got in my bed, time to go to bed, 10 o'clock or whatever. And I turned on the radio there. I think I was going to listen to a ball game or something, and I heard that song. It was called Apache, and it nailed me like that. I just, that is so beautiful. What a great, beautiful piece of work. And I love the guitars, I love the drums, the bass, everything, you know. And from that moment on, I was kind of keen on music. That one song just turned it for me.
I may think about a woman I haven't seen in years but will always love, even though she lives in another country, another world, and I play a passage or two with absolute concentration on it and send it out to her wherever she may be. Then I might again wonder if it wouldn't be better if we'd all stayed home talking instead of going out for another night of distraction. On stage, your mind is never still. Yet, no matter what I'm consciously thinking about, whether it's ticket price, the color of the velvet on the chairs, or the face in the audience, my own self wondering what the crowd or what a certain person in the crowd might be thinking about, whatever it is, the quality is always my subconscious priority, and I won't let it go. It feels like a privilege to be the designated keeper of the music, and the attempt to do my best presides over all the petty mental chatter. It's more fun than you can imagine to be strong and to be able to play, and I'm proud of the moment. Proud of both sides, them and us, and come to think of it, there's no split between the crowd and the band. We all add up to the night. Just now it's growing late. I've spent the whole day clearing this table off because I've been wanting to answer your letter since I got it, and also to thank you for sending the brushes up to Canada. I just got off the tour this morning. Take this attempt at a reply for now, and don't hesitate to keep in touch. From Rowland.
all just alive as could be at that moment. And this song came in and seemed to boost it another notch. That's all I can say. It was kind of special.
Sorry. I don't know how long I was holding that.
Bless you.